everybody, it's Benjamin from Beat Imagine Music Studio. My name is Benjamin Dylan Goldbaum, middle name Dylan, named after Bob Dylan, also named after Dylan Thomas, where I believe Bob Dylan got his name. Working on this song called Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. A number of reasons I thought this would be a great song to share with you all. First reason is, well, I don't want to get too into it, but I was listening to some music. It's on the radio right now, 2018, and I'll try not to be too nitpicky and rude or anything like that, but I just wasn't much of a fan of it. I didn't think the lyrics really meant a lot to me or were very thought-provoking. So I thought, I'm going to remind young people about one of the most important American lyricists, which is Bob Dylan. His lyrics really, can get you thinking and tell a really interesting story. I like lyrics that sort of like what he has, because for many years you could listen to the same song and still not really know what it's about. It'll still get you wondering, which is just a great feeling with art. So another reason I chose it is because I've been teaching you all in my lessons about the chord scale, or the diatonic triads in C major. And if you look through some of my video history here on YouTube, you'll find a video where I talk about all the diatonic triads in the key of C major. Now what they are is, I call it the chord scale. We're building chords on top of the notes from the C major scale. Now what are the notes of the C major scale? We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. But if you stack a third and then another third on each one of those tones, you end up with some chords. And what naturally occurs when you use the white keys in the key of C major is we end up with the one chord being a C major, of course. Now the two chord is a D note in the scale, but the chord ends up being D minor. So two chords are minor. In the key of C, it's D minor. The three chord is E minor. Four chord is F major. Five chord is G major. Six chord is A minor. And the seven chord would be B diminished. Play like that if you like on the guitar. Now what Bob Dylan does is he uses these chords in his verse pretty much right in order. We'll talk about it in just a moment. And that's my big focus of sharing Like a Rolling Stone with you all, is to get to know the chord progressions. Okay, so we begin with the introduction. We have a one measure phrase where we're going to be using the one chord and the four chord. The one chord we said was C major. The four chord is simply the fourth note in the C scale, which is F. But also you have to know this knowledge about which number chord corresponds with which type of chord, whether it's major, minor, or diminished. So we got C major is the one chord to F major is the four chord. We played two beats of C on the first and second beat of the bar. Then the third and fourth beat of the bar, the last two beats, we play F, which is the four chord. It kind of sounds like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Little side note, I feel like I started that in a kind of a funny way, but I like how it sounded because I began a little bit offbeat, but then established the beat right away. I thought about this as I was performing along with the piece, is that I want to share with you all that what I just did, where I played right along with Bob Dylan, is one of the most important things you could do as you're studying any instrument. If you're learning your favorite song, put that song on and play right along with it. It trains you to have good timing, to have a good ear, because you're listening to something outside of yourself. It'll really make you a much stronger player than if you just played it on your own and never practiced along with the real track. So almost think of it like, you're trying to train with a professional runner, and you're running right alongside that person, right in time, perfectly, and copying their moves. You may get fall back a little, kind of like getting out of time, then you catch right back up, and that's how you learn to play music well with other people. So, after that introduction, we got C to F, the 1 to the 4 chord. We go to the verse, and here's where Bob Dylan uses the first 5 chords in the key of C. He begins with C major for 2 beats, D minor for 2 beats, E minor for 2 beats, F for 2 beats, then goes to G for 8 beats, 2 bars of 4 beats. So he's like playing the 1 to the 2 chord, to the 3 chord, to the 4 chord, to the 5 chord. Such a wonderful progression, so neat, so cool how it how it fits together so simply and sounds great. Now, after he plays through that, I believe the next part would be the pre-chorus. And that pre-chorus, he begins on the F. 1, 2, 4 beats, goes to G for 4 beats. So the 4 chord to the 5 chord, back to the 4 chord of F for 4 beats, to the G chord for 4 beats. Now he's going to go backwards through the chord progression. He's going to play F for 2 beats, which is the 4 chord, E minor for 2 beats, which is the 3, D minor for 2 beats, which is the 2 chord, and we finally end up at C chord for 2 beats, which is the 1 chord. Does that twice, and then plays the 5 chord, which is G. Now 5 chords very often lead to the 1, so it was a great way to end the pre-chorus and lead into his chorus. His chorus begins on C chord, which is the 1, and he's going to play, well, pretty much like the blues chord changes, which is the 1, 4, 5. So he plays 2 beats of C, which is the 1 chord, 2 beats of F, which is the 4 chord, and 4 beats of G. And that's his progression for the chorus. So check out the chart that I wrote somewhere over here of these chord progressions. You may need to be flexible with this chart. I believe that sometimes he adds a couple extra G chords at the end of each cycle. The cycle being verse, pre-chorus, chorus. So learn to play this song, listen to some Bob Dylan music, enjoy his lyrics, maybe read them a little bit, really think about them. Playing this song on any instrument is a ton of fun. If you're having trouble playing all these chords, one way you can approach it is just play the bass notes of each chord. So when the C chord comes, I'll just play a C bass note. For 2 beats, play a D bass note, E bass note, F bass note, G, and just follow the chord progression with those 5 notes. That could be an easy way to approach it. If you're a very beginner guitar player, you may only know these high 2 strings. You could play the song with just those. You could play, there's your C note, there's your D, you got your E, F, and G. So there's always a way to play along with a song, even if you simplify it. Eventually though, it's good to learn these 4 chords. I got a C chord that has G in the bass. I like how I can flow to an F chord with it. F chord is probably the most difficult chord of all of these. I play it where my thumb just hangs over a little bit, not too super intentionally, but just hangs over a little, and it captures this low bass F note. Then I got all 5 strings represented. If you're struggling with an F chord, the easiest F chord would be to play the 3rd fret of the 4th string, 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and 1st fret of the 2nd string. Just focus on those 3 notes to begin with an F chord. What else? We have D minor. Some people would play D minor with these 3 fingers. I prefer to play it with the pinky on this D note. E minor, very easy chord. G, I believe I played it with this finger choice, but a lot of players play like this. Either way is fine. Now when it comes to some of the fancy strumming, well, that's for another video. We'll have to talk about that another day. You could begin with a very simple approach and just play quarter note, downstrokes, 4 beats per measure. Keep it simple to begin. So, hope you enjoy this song and a lot of great Bob Dylan songs, and enjoy playing your guitar. Keep working hard at it, because any song that you love, with a little practice, you too can play your favorite song. Alright, be well.